Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it appears that there's actually been some good, real news when it comes to Arknight's Endfield. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, despite a release filled with bugs, a release filled with awful practices business-wise, and of course, a release filled with streamers like Fobmaster, and of course, countless players in the community getting robbed blind, there's a little bit of good that we can actually talk about. And that's going to be, some might call it compensation, some might call it celebration. I think it's a little bit of both. I think Kuipergriff isn't legally allowed to admit fault for causing many of their players to lose literally thousands of dollars from their PayPal accounts. I don't think they're legally allowed to say, I don't know, that they did it. So this is, in my personal opinion, their response instead. They're saying it's for 30 million downloads worldwide. Why 30? Think about that for a second. Why'd they choose 30? Maybe because we were at 30 million downloads when the PayPal thing happened? So they just like, shit, we need a reason to give out 10 pulls. Fuck it. Yeah, we got 30 million downloads. Yeah, use that. Because why 30? Anyways, beyond all of that, regardless of what the reason is, they just chose 30 for some odd reason. It times up perfectly. 30 million just seems to time up perfectly for when the PayPal issue occurred. I guess it's just a coincidence, right? I guess it's just entirely coincidence. Nothing to see here, ladies and gentlemen. But the main prize is going to be, moving past all of that, a 10 pull. And this is going to be one of the best things I've seen for a game like this, because there's almost no pull currency at all in the base version of the game. With all the release codes, all of that, right? You can see all the rewards over here. You have a grand total of like 5 or 6 limited pulls by the time you're able to hit the gacha. And with this gift, you're now going to be at 15. And when it comes to a game like Endfield, having pulls like this is really important, because this game, I'm just going to be honest with you, this game really fucking sucks and is not fun at all unless you actually do reroll. And the reason for that is quite simple. And I think this will probably just be like an introductory system to how the game's combat, its roster, and its team building works. You're going to notice I have a very rare character on my screen. I have Yvonne. And Yvonne is a character you can't get right now. You can only get her by losing 50-50 on Surtur's banner and then winning her from the 50-50 loss pool. In total, it's like you have the base chance of getting a 5-star or a 6-star, and then she's like a 17% chance out of that. It's really low. Let's just say that. She's a really low chance of being rolled. And one thing that Yvonne is that Yvonne is a solidification DPS, meaning that she relies on applying solidification and interacts only with teammates that are able to A, give her nature infliction, cryo infliction, or benefit from solidification. And so you can see over here a lot of her kit that you see some potential synergies, right? I would need characters that can inflict this to use her. If that is not met in here, she's not playable. Basically, her kit just doesn't function. It's not going to work. Then you see this character. This is a 3-star unit, right? This is a 3-star or 4-star unit. You're going to get a lot of copies of her. Look at her. What does she react to? How does she trigger combos? When somebody gets solidified, what does her skill do? It applies cryo. Interesting, right? But what does she not have in her kit? An ability to force solidification like this unit can. So, what's the reality here? This character doesn't feel that good, and functionally, is it like you even have her if you don't have Yvonne? Probably not. You're going to get way less value out of this unit if you don't have Yvonne. And this translates across the entire roster, where this guy feels like he shouldn't fucking exist unless you have Surtur. Because this guy needs people that can interact with heat infliction. And guess what? The only character in the game that really actually does that is Surtur. And so if you don't have Surtur and you don't pull her on the intro banner of the game, how the fuck do you do anything with this guy? Does he even have a use? Maybe, but he's never going to have like his actual like intended team. That's because in this game, I'm gonna be honest, guys. This game feels like every character is Phoebe and Zani. And basically, the combo trigger is essentially that negative status from Wuwa. It is the Chacona and the Cartithia. It is the Jinxie and her coordinated attacks. If you don't have somebody that can force solidify, this character basically doesn't have a combo skill. There are some characters that are a bit more general like her, where all you need to do is inflict someone with vulnerable. And vulnerable's really easy to inflict. There are a couple of general characters, right? A little bit like the Varinas of this game. But there's so much where it's Giga specific. Giga specific. She, for her to combo, she needs 2 or more stacks of cryo and nature. Bro, this requires a specialized team to take advantage of. And you want to know one of the characters that she needs to really work out well? Last Right. Right? Last Right is needed to make that character work. And you want to know how to get her? Oh, you just gotta win the 1 out of 5 to make that character useful. And so you're seeing, right, how this game, its combat system, its roster, relies so much on having a wide roster for half the units to fucking feel playable. And when you get no pulls, in this game, what does that fucking lead to? You can't use anybody and you have no fun at all. And so that's why I tell people, ladies and gentlemen, that's why I tell people, re-roll in this game or you will want to fucking quit as a free-to-play because you can't pull because of the banner system. So you can't pull, you can't use half the units, and if you get the wrong standard unit, it's like you got nobody in the first place because they force you to get Ardelia in this game, but you can also get her from this banner. So if that happens, you want to re-roll there too. The end result is that there's so many reasons to re-roll in this game, but it had one of the worst re-roll currencies ever. And what this 10 pull does, ladies and gentlemen, is it effectively triples the number of pulls that people were able to do on release. And you know what that means, ladies and gentlemen? It means you actually have a pretty decent chance of being able to get Surtur, or of course, maybe get a Gilberto or Yvonne in the Lost Pool. That's what this means. And this is my take. The game is actually quite enjoyable, and the game is actually quite fun if you do reroll and you do actually get one of the limited 6-star characters. But if you don't, I really don't think it's worth suffering through it and having nothing to use, nothing to play, and nothing to work with. It's so stingy, it's unreal. But if you reroll, you actually do feel like you have a fucking game to play. And so my take is, I think every player should try to re-roll at this point if they decided to either quit because the re-rolling process was ass, or they haven't tried it yet, or even they have tried it. Guys, the launch version of this game has 150 something pulls, limited ones. And that's if you're playing for like hundreds of hours, you get 150 limited pulls. By re-rolling now and getting a Leviathan, you get the equivalent of basically the entire version's limited pulls, because a lot of other people are going to be going to straight 120 because the rates in this are dog shit. And you can lose 50-50 an infinite number of times. They'll go to 120. But you re-rolling just lets you basically get what somebody's working the entire patch for to get. And then that means, right, you can go save for other units too. And another reason to re-roll, guys, is that if you're a free-to-play, you can't actually guarantee this character. The pulls are so time-gated and so stingy, you are not able to get 120 by the time this banner leaves. You literally can't unless I think you get super lucky and, like, explore everything. But Leviathan is essentially impossible to get for free-to-plays unless you reroll. So that's another level of exclusivity born from the most toxic and predatory and, like, resource-starved gacha I've ever seen in the space. Because, yeah, if you pull on her banner as a free-to-play, you will most likely lose your entire pity. And that's why it's recommended nobody does it, and the only way to get her is to reroll. And that's the truth of a system that's designed like this with no pity carryover. Everyone is seeing how restrictive it actually is in actual gameplay. But you had all these rat fuck tourists, like Mr. Pokey, who played HSR for 4 years and were trying to tell you that this system was actually really friendly. When in actual practice, anyone that's actually engaging with this can tell this is one of the worst free-to-play experiences in gacha history. But, thankfully, they've given us something. And I just wanted to let the players that wanted to give this a try, because it actually is relatively playable now, that there is an opportunity out here. And the truth of the matter is, I've been enjoying this game. And I would not even be close to having half or even a quarter of the enjoyment that I have right now if I did not reroll. Because like I mentioned before, if you don't have the characters, you can't play other characters. Because everybody in this game is Phoebe and Zani. You got a couple of arenas here and there, but they're in the minority. That's going to be it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Just a bit of a quick little breakdown, a quick little segment, just to, like, you know, pass a bit of the time. But, yeah, it's a bit of an update from Hypergriff. I think it's good overall for a good number of players, but also do know what you're getting yourself into. One of the worst gacha systems we've ever seen, and a complete regression. I call this the gacha Dark Ages. We've gone backwards because of the greed of these developers. And the sooner people make a stand, the sooner people start speaking out, give all the feedback you can that this system needs massive fucking changes. But this, well, I guess you could consider this just minimizing the amount of damage that we're currently taking. But that's my job as a CC anyways, at least if your goal is to help the players. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out.